There is a kind of love that enters your life quietly. No fireworks, no dramatic music, no warning. One day you're fine, the next day someone becomes your favorite person in the world, your safe place, your future, your home, and you begin to believe nothing can take them away until life proves that love is not always enough. This is the story of Ayo and Sade, a story that began with laughter and ended with a silence that never truly left. Ayo met Sade on a hot Thursday afternoon in Ibadan. The sun was harsh that day, the kind that made people impatient and quickly tempered. The streets were busy, filled with unusual mix of noise. Bus conductors shouting, traders calling customers, the distant sound of horns echoing through the heat. But in the middle of all that, Sade stood calmly in front of a small roadside bookshop near Odija Market, gently arguing with the seller about the price of a novel. Her voice wasn't loud or aggressive, it was soft and steady. Ayo noticed her laughter before he noticed her face. It was light and easy, like someone who still believed the world could be kind. He hesitated for a moment, then stepped closer. "Excuse me," he said. "You can get that cheaper. I know this man." Sade turned to him slightly surprised, studying his face as if deciding whether to trust him. "Are you sure?" she asked. Ayo smiled. "I don't lie. I exaggerate sometimes, but I don't lie." She laughed, and just like that, something shifted. They ended up talking for hours that day about books, about work, about Lagos traffic, Nigerian dream, and how difficult it was to plan a future in a country that always demanded survival first. Shade was a secondary school teacher who loved her students even when the job exhausted her. Ayo worked in a small tech company and dreamed of building something meaningful one day. By the time evening arrived, neither of them wanted the day to end. Before they parted ways, Ayo asked quietly, almost nervously, "Can I see you again?" Shade smiled. "Yes," and that was how love walked into their lives. Slowly, softly, without permission. Their love grew quietly. It didn't rush them. It was seen in their midnight phone calls that lasted until sleep stole their voices, in voice notes sent during power outages, in laughter shared over roadside roasted corn, in prayers whispered for each other. Ayo loved how Shade truly listened, not just to respond, but to understand. Shade loved how Ayo made her feel seen, chosen, safe, and loved. When Ayo finally said, "I love you," it was raining, the soft kind of rain that makes the world feel clean again. They stood under a small shop roof, watching the waterfall. "I love you," he said, his voice barely steady. Shade paused, then whispered, "I love you too." From that moment, future became something they shared. They spoke about marriage, a small house, two children, maybe three. They met each other's families. They received blessings and approval. Everything felt aligned. Everything felt right. And that was when life began to test them. Ayo's company started struggling. Projects failed. Salaries were delayed. The pressure grew heavier every month. Slowly, Ayo changed. He became quieter, more distracted, more distant. Shade noticed, of course. "What's wrong?" she asked one night. "I'm fine," he replied. But he wasn't. And that was when Tola entered the picture. She walked with Ayo, confident, bold, and sharp. She listened when he complained. She laughed at his jokes and told him he deserved more. At first, it meant nothing. Just conversations, just comfort. But betrayal rarely begins with intentions. It begins with small moments that feel harmless until they are not. Shade felt the change before she understood it. The phone calls became shorter, the replies became slower, the laughter became rare, and the phone was always turned face down. One evening, she asked quietly, "Is there anyone else?" Ayo laughed it off. "You are imagining things, but love doesn't imagine betrayal, it feels it." One afternoon, she decided to surprise him. She cooked his favorite meal, packed it carefully, smiled all the way to his office. She imagined his face lightening up. Instead, she walked into a moment she could never forget. Ayo was laughing, too close, too comfortable. Tola's hand rested gently on his arm. The food container slid from Shade's hands. No shouting, no screaming, just silence. She turned around and walked away, and that night, she cried alone. When she finally confronted him, Ayo didn't deny. I didn't plan it, he said. It just happened. Shade looked at him for a long moment. A mistake, a stepping on my foot, she said quietly. That was a choice, not a mistake. In that moment, trust collapsed like a house without pillars. Shade left. She moved to Lagos for a new teaching job, new city, new life, new beginning. She blocked Ayo everywhere. Weeks passed, then months. And life began to take from Ayo everything he took for granted. Tola left when things became difficult. The company shut down, friends disappeared, only regret stayed with Ayo. Every night, he remembered Shade's laughter, her patience, her loyalty. He tried to reach her, but couldn't. They met again at a wedding in Ilorin. Music filled the hall. People laughed and danced. And then Ayo saw her. Sade looked stronger, calmer, and different. Their eyes met, but this time, nothing happened. Ayo, she said calmly. Sade, he replied, his voice shaking. They spoke outside under soft lights. I am sorry, he whispered. I ruined us. Sade nodded. Yes, you did. But she shook her head quietly. He waited, hoping that she would respond positively, but she shook her head gently. I loved you deeply, she said, but love without trust is a prison, and I am free now. Tears filled his eyes. I will always care about you, she added, but I will never come back. And with that, the chapter closed. 2 years later, Sade got married to a kind man, a faithful man, and a patient man. Ayo heard the news quietly. He smiled, but it hurt. He never stopped loving her, but he finally understood the lesson love had given him. Some things break once, never return to what they were. If you're listening to this and your heart feels heavy, remember this. Love is beautiful, but loyalty is what keeps it alive. And sometimes the love that breaks you is the love that teaches you the most. Not every love story ends in marriage. Some end in growth, some in lessons, some end in memories that never fade. And sometimes the person you loved forever becomes the person you remember forever.